Hi, I'm Rob, co-founder of Token Gamer and co-host of the Mint One podcast. Today we're going to look at 3 reasons why blockchain brawlers on the Wax blockchain could be huge. Before we get started though, I want to give some caveats. Firstly, Token Gamer is a Wax guild. If you're not sure what that is, it's worth looking up. It's complicated, but essentially we are an active block producer for the Wax blockchain. Blockchain Brawlers is made by Wax Studios, which is a game studio owned by the Wax blockchain. Secondly, I am an ambassador for Blockchain Brawlers, but before you click off, it doesn't really mean that much. I'm not paid for the position. I don't really receive anything for it. I'm part of a group of 15 players that just give our feedback to the development team. Please know that this isn't a sponsored video. We haven't been paid for this. This is my opinion on Blockchain Brawlers, and it will include some criticisms. In fact, that's where we're going to start. We're obviously heavily involved in the Wax blockchain and its ecosystem, so when they announced Wax Studios and their first game, we were excited. Blockchain Brawlers, a wrestling game, isn't something I would have particularly gravitated towards, but it sounded interesting. So I joined the team of ambassadors and I was looking forward to getting to try the game, which I did. And when it launched, I jumped straight in and I found it was boring as I knew it was a play to earn game, but I didn't know it was a clicker and not a frequent clicker once per hour. I was really disappointed, but I had been warned that this might be the case and that this wasn't really the game. It was a sort of precursor to Blockchain Brawlers and a way of establishing the economy and the tokenomics. What offset this disappointment and gave me a modicum of hope for the project is that the head of Wax Studios, Michael Rubinelli, spoke with me and he made it clear that he knew this wasn't a game and that the best was still to come. And I think in his exact words, this is the worst it will ever be. Now, with that boring mining phase over, the Blockchain Brawlers proper game is just around the corner, and I want to give 3 reasons why I think it could be huge. I say could because I haven't had a chance to play the new game mode yet, but here is why I'm optimistic. Number 1 has to be Richard Garfield's involvement. Now, Richard Garfield is most famous for having created Magic the Gathering. So he essentially invented the TCG game format. Perhaps I've already been in Web3 too long, but I'm a bit of a cynic, and I did wonder if this partnership was perhaps just for show, and if it was just to grab some headlines for Wax Studios. It wasn't. Now, Richard Garfield is a legend, and this is a rare instance in which legend is fair use. So his involvement in Blockchain Brawlers, which we understood is some sort of card game, could be revolutionary for the project. I also know from a few privileged conversations that Richard Garfield isn't keen on blockchain gaming in its current form, which I actually find encouraging. So what is he doing on Blockchain Brawlers? Well, he's not a consultant, that's for sure. So the main game mode of Blockchain Brawlers is going to be PvP, and this is going to take the form of a new type of card game that was created by Richard Garfield before he joined Wax Studios. So they have brought on Richard Garfield to bring in his new game and repurpose it for Blockchain Brawlers. Now, Michael Rubinelli told me that this is not a game mode that currently exists. It is a brand new format. So if Richard Garfield's newest creation is 1% as successful as Magic the Gathering, it'll be a sort of technological singularity for blockchain gaming. Number 2, the PvP mode is going to be skill-based, competitive, and have an ELO rating system. Now, when you consider Richard Garfield's involvement in this and the fact that he has created this new novel game mode, I'm markedly more excited knowing that it is properly competitive. PvP is a term that's used so liberally these days, particularly within blockchain gaming, where the projects don't have competitiveness or skill-based combat or ranking systems, and that's just not PvP to me. But Blockchain Brawlers does sound genuinely PvP. And in a recent Medium post, they went over the gameplay mechanics and how it will all work. And it sounds as if Blockchain Brawlers PvP mode will be much closer to something like poker than Magic the Gathering. They even said in this article explicitly, in the end, the better game player will win more often than they lose. Now, it's worth noting that a game can be properly PvP in that it's skill-based and competitive and has ELO ranking, and they can undo all of that hard work by being pay to win. This isn't the case with Blockchain Brawlers, and in fact, the legendary brawlers offer no competitive advantage. Now, there's one area of this that I'm looking forward to seeing in particular, and that is how the Brawl token is used. Getting the Brawl token is what the mining phase was all about. That's really all it was about. But we've been told, and I quote, Brawl will have exponentially more utility in the PvP phase. If there's a situation in which a lot of Brawl can be on the line when you're playing against another player, that could be a really exciting gameplay dynamic. That said, with the game closer to poker, if you add in gambling, Wax Studios is going to have some regulators at the door. Okay, number 3 is unexpected and almost unheard of in blockchain gaming. That is, the writers and the lore are Blockchain Brawlers' unsung heroes. Now, this might be a sweeping generalization, but I find that generally PvP games don't tend to have much of a focus on lore because lore fits better with PvE games and players. Now, I've played MMOs for years and I tend to be more of a PvP player and I don't focus very much on the lore. I just sort of keep a gist of what's going on. Now, if you're like me, why would you care about Blockchain Brawlers lore? Well, hear me out. Now, people might not know about Blockchain Brawlers lore for 2 reasons. 1, it's overshadowed by Richard Garfield, which is fair enough. And 2, Wax Studios is irritatingly humble. While on a call with senior members of Wax Studios, furiously mining for exclusives, David Parver, who is the VP of Marketing at Wax Studios, started discussing how they are approaching story and lore in the game. I had to stop him mid-sentence several times because what he was saying is not only interesting, but it's not common knowledge either. Now, the first thread to follow here is the community-driven story. Professional wrestling has always had an interest in audience participation, and Blockchain Brawlers is going to try and mirror that. Now, this is going to be achieved in a few ways. The first is they're going to send out some community surveys that people can answer questions about the game, and that's really boring. I don't really care about that. But the interesting one is the most active community members are going to kind of vault the fourth wall, and they are going to become characters in Blockchain Brawlers. That is, those people that are always chatting away in the Discord, they're going to become managers, trainers, announcers even. And this has already happened twice, and the game's not even out yet. In fact, George the Ginormous has become a manager of the legendary brawler Rusty Klutz, and Arcade Danger became an investigative reporter for the fictional Brawlerverse magazine. That was surprisingly difficult to read. Furthermore, the developers are encouraging people to create memes and put them in the meme channel and put them on Twitter, and these memes actually influence the way the story plays out. I think this is a great way to make the game more interesting, but also to build an engaged community around the game. Okay, I said 3, but you're getting 4. It's a bonus round. I want to discuss the all-star team behind Blockchain Brawlers. Now, the first person who I've already mentioned in this video so far, which is Michael Rubinelli, he is the head of Wax Studios, and he's been just about everywhere. I recommend you listening to our interview with him on the Mint One podcast, which you can watch by clicking here. He's not only a long-time wrestling fan, but he also produced bona fide classics in the WWE series while working for THQ. Now, Michael's obviously not alone on this, and I did mention David Parver before. Parver? Sorry, David. But he's the VP of Marketing at Wax Studios, and his CV is worth noting too. David is a 25-year veteran of the gaming and entertainment industries, working for multiple wrestling franchises. He was the former producer and content manager for WCW.com, which is World Championship Wrestling at Turner Sports. He's the former marketing manager for THQ and marketing consultant for multiple wrestling titles, and he has wrestling game credits include WCW NWO Revenge, WWF WrestleMania 2000, which was amazing, and SmackDown vs. Raw, which was equally amazing. There is the third person I actually want to bring up, and that is Chad Damiani, a creative consultant for Blockchain Brawlers. Chad is a 20-year TV and film veteran, including wrestling. He's a former announcer and writer for World Championship Wrestling, and since World Championship Wrestling, he's moved on to write and work on film, TV, and reality projects for Sony, Fox, Paramount, New Line, FX, TBS, CBS, and NBC, so he's done all right. On top of these 3, you also have Cub Studios, who are the artists behind the memorable visuals and aesthetic of Blockchain Brawlers. Okay, so final thoughts. I think it's a shame that Blockchain Brawlers launched with the mining version of the game first, rather than both at the same time, with mining just being a facet of gameplay. I also think it's a shame that this may turn some gamers off Blockchain Brawlers before it's even really started. Nevertheless, if Richard Garfield's game mode is good, I can't see people refusing to give it a try. What's ironic is that a game that started life in the worst form of blockchain game, a boring clicker with low depth, could now become one of the frontrunners for gameplay within Web3 gaming. There's a lot riding on this PvP game mode, not only for Blockchain Brawler's success, but for Wax Studios as a whole. But they've got the experience, they've got the team, and they've got the direction, and I'm hopeful. All right, that'll do. If you want to spend more time looking at my strange face, you can jump onto the Mint One podcast YouTube channel, which I will link somewhere around here. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down and shout at me in the comments. See ya.